Hi, I'm Bridgette Hylton,
I'm Sanam Zaer.
and we're part of A Better Shrewsbury. We're back for our second episode. How exciting is that?
That is very exciting.
Yeah, you feeling good about it?
I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were hoping to come up with something regular, but summer kind of has been
A
attacking
whirlwind,
me
yeah,
from all
yeah.
angles.
We've
but,
both been on vacation. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff, starting our gardens for the summer and other exciting stuff since we got together.
Yep.
So the topic for today is definitely going to be plants.
Yes.
But we thought before we dug into some of our favorite house plants and garden stuff that we could just discuss, like, I don't know, some random topics like we did last time. What do you think?
I have a random topic generator.
Okay, let's do it.
Ready.
Let's go for it. It was really fun last time, so I feel like that should be like
It
a
was.
thing once in a while that
Okay,
we do.
generate random topic.
Let's go for it.
What do you usually eat in the morning?
Okay, so this has actually evolved over the course of my life. This is so boring. Like, who wants to know what I eat for breakfast?
Everybody wants to know
wants to know.
what you eat for breakfast.
I always have a cup of coffee. I come from a very coffee-loving family from the island of Jamaica, where some of the best coffee in the world is grown. So I usually start every day with a cup of coffee, usually with a little bit of oat milk in it, and I like to froth it a little bit, give myself a little pizzazz.
I hate froth.
In the morning, I love it.
I don't like it
A little
at all.
foam, you know, just to give it the extra kick. And then I usually have a protein bar in the morning.
Really?
Yeah. But all of this sort of came about after I had kids. Before I had kids, I had a smoothie every morning. No coffee, just a smoothie. It was like bright and chipper, didn't need caffeine.
I just want to say right now, if I come to your house for breakfast, I would expect fried plantains. Definitely.
No, when people come, like, I cook. Like, when my brother was in town, I made bagels, and, like, you know, I got up super early and was getting everything ready for that. But when it's just for myself, I'm not a big eater. Yeah, and not in the morning. I don't really like big breakfast. Even like today, I took the kids to IHOP, and they ate, and I just sat there and, like, drank the coffee and, like, yeah. What about you?
I am the opposite. I like to have a huge breakfast. Sometimes if we have leftovers from dinner the night before, I'll eat that for breakfast.
I did not know that about you.
Chicken soup. I love chicken soup for breakfast. If I have some, I'll eat that. I really like eggs. Lately, I've been eating Rice Krispies. I don't know. I've been on kind of I think because it's so hot. I've
with
been
milk
kind of
or just
with milk and ice cube. So I actually since I was a kid, I love extra cold milk. So I do my cereal the opposite way, and I would argue that it takes away all the imperfections of a cereal. So I start with an ice cube, then the milk, then the cereal on top. And then you do a second layer of cereal halfway through. So then your milk is getting colder and your cereal is getting crispier as you complete your meal.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's the concept.
I also bought these, BJ's has these little like spinach and egg white frittata
everyone
things.
seems to love those.
Those are so good, but I don't like plan ahead enough to be able to like pull myself together to stick that in the oven for 15 minutes. So.
Yeah, I've been making those little things like that for my son in the morning because he likes a breakfast sandwich.
Yeah.
And I like those because it already has like everything you need.
Everything.
You just need to put the bread and you're good to go if you want bread with it. Or you can just eat it by itself, which is great. But that's a good quick breakfast for school.
Okay, next topic. What is the least favorite thing about this week?
Okay, why don't you go first? Because
I'm gonna say the heat. The heat is really brutal. I like a warm day if I'm doing nothing and by the pool. But this week is so busy and there's so much heat. And my poor plants, not these ones. These ones are safe indoor. But my poor plants outside are just needing water.
With the water
We've had these like splashes of rain here and there, but not like a really, really good soak. And even a few days ago, I think we got like a 5-minute soak, but then it just dried right back up again 5 minutes later. So heat is my answer.
Okay. I cannot say the heat, because if I'm honest, I will take a 98-degree day over even a mildly chilly day any day of the week. And I don't know why I'm like that. I think probably it's genetic, but I just love warm weather. So I can't agree with you there. Worst thing about this week, I honestly I guess, trouble in the world. You know, that came up at the breakfast table this morning. My kid asked me about the potential for nuclear war with Russia. And that was, and he was very worried about the probabilities, and he was asking me to outline the probabilities. And so that's kind of a twofer, right? It's both the fact that we have trouble in the world in all these different places, but also that your child is struggling to make sense of it.
Yeah.
And so we talked a little bit about the Cold War and how we've kind of been at odds with what is now Russia for a long time, and that it's never quite escalated to nuclear war, and that's really not something he needs to worry about on summer vacation when he has a fun day with swimming and a barbecue lined up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that would be the worst for the week. But everything else, I mean, it's been a great summer so far. You were in Zanzibar.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and I went to Jamaica, so we got like some really good summer vacation. I was in Nantucket. We got some good summer vacationing in, right?
Yeah.
So that was good.
I was sort of getting ready to go back to school, go back to work, all of that. So
all that fun stuff. So yeah.
And that's kind of funny because our two stories kind of encapsulate the American experience.
Yeah, everything that's going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I'm worried about my plants, but at the same time I'm worried about the crushing
change.
weight of climate change, but also just the crushing weight of world war and countries clashing with each other. And,
how about instead of a random generator, we can do what we did last time, which is just like, have you heard anything random in the news lately that you want to chit chat about quickly before we hop into the plants?
anything random in the news? Do you? You go first.
I have one. I do have one. I've been really intrigued about this licensing of the vanadium batteries. Have you heard about vanadium batteries? So it's this amazing battery technology that was developed by the national labs here in the United States. And basically what it is, it's a battery about the size of a refrigerator that can be recharged and reused for 30-something years. Mm-hmm. So in an ideal world, every family would have one of these attached to their home, and it would power their air conditioning, it would power their, all their electricity needs in their home without the crushing environmental impact.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so the further fascinating part of the story is that somehow that licensing was given to China, and so the batteries are being mass produced there. Recently that license was canceled for China and hopefully will be assigned to a US company because we don't want it to be a situation where this great technology that was developed here is inaccessible for middle and lower income American families in order to use clean energy in their homes.
How far out are they from?
I'm not really sure how far, but I know for a fact that China is currently developing the largest battery farm in the world using this battery technology. Wow. Yeah, so it's really amazing stuff, and I found that story extremely interesting. I've been literally talking to everyone about it because I love my air conditioner. And you watch all those videos, you understand that just turning off your AC is not going to save the planet. We need something on a more structural and widespread scale. Yeah. But it was very comforting for me to hear that there is a prospect at least, of something that we can do to make the world a little bit of a better place. So, that was my story of the week that I found very interesting. Yeah, that was really interesting.
I don't have anything in the news, but something that you reminded me of, since we're just randomly riffing. I have been, I travel into random corners of the world, and I've been so surprised in some of these areas to see China's very prominent presence in some of these countries. We pulled into Nairobi, and immediately on the highway, you have Chinese architecture on the highway. The Chinese have built a new highway in Nairobi. They just call it the Chinese highway. Even in tiny islands that I've been to, kind of...
Jamaica is like that. The Chinese government or the engineers have not just built highways and freeways, but also taught Jamaican engineers their system of doing things. But as you know, there's a little bit of a downside to some of these partnerships.
It feels like a very modern colonization.
Yeah, because the money
/ capitalism. Yeah, it's very strange.
These are expensive projects, and the interest rates are not.
Even Zanzibar. Zanzibar is this tiny, underdeveloped island off the coast of East Africa, and you drive by the homes, just completely underdeveloped. But the airport is brand new. It's brand new. It's probably one of the best airports I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, it was just brand new, so clean, open, nice flow.
I love that.
They're still developing it, but it's really interesting kind of seeing.
It's a confusing time, I think, in a lot of these countries, right? Because it's we're seeing a lot of progress, a lot of things that were long overdue, but at what cost? Yeah. And in 100 years, are we going to look back the way we look back, for example, on British colonialism and think that it was just not in the best interest of the people living in these places. So I guess time will tell.
Yeah, it's really hard in these situations because there's, and it's with a lot of problems, even local ones. Like, you have an immediate solution, which involves an influx of money coming from somewhere, or a long-term solution, which involves, I don't know, more systematic change. So it's really hard to kind of figure out, it's kind of the same with gentrification, right? Like, if you go into an area, and you see, like, if you look in Worcester, they have a lot of these triple deckers, some from the 1800s, early 1900s. They need to be torn down and rebuilt. But then once you do that, in order to recover your investment, you need to increase the rent. So you're really going to drive out people that can no longer afford to live in those places. But at the same time, it needs to happen. So it's just, with every problem, I feel like, there's no obvious solution.
Solutions are complex.
So it's just really...
There's a ancient philosopher, Torchlan, who says that the great tragedy of our laws is that we don't fully understand them, or the good or the harm that they may cause us. And I feel like that's a lot of life, right? Like, we have these great, beautiful projects happening in a lot of these countries. I know in Jamaica, I was just there. That's where my family's from. Like, these are positively impacting the day-to-day lives of Jamaicans on the ground every day, but we don't fully understand yet kind of what the long-term effects are going to be, and we just have to wait and see.
I've seen some creative solutions to these. I know we don't have time to dive into it, maybe a future one, but there are some creative solutions where, they do make an immediate change, but kind of set up support systems to, help alleviate some of these long-term
debt.
So it's it's an interesting topic. We should talk about another time.
Yeah,
Today
definitely.
we are going to talk about our beautiful plants.
Our babies.
So we've brought some of our plants that have some stories behind them to share with you. We both love plants.
And we also know everyone else loves plants right now. Like,
shirts,
it just seems like everyone's into plants. I don't know about you, but like all my friends are like, where'd you get that Monstera? Like, send me the link for that planter. Or like, when you come to visit, bring me the plant or like what you have. It just feels like plants are very like popular right now. So
maybe in COVID
maybe that was it. Pets and plants.
The shutdown was the first time in my life where I have successfully been able to grow plants.
Really?
Because we travel a lot. So and that's not conducive to plant growing. Well, some of it, but a lot of growing a vegetable garden, you really need to be there to tend to your vegetable garden. But during the pandemic, I had to just shut everything down. So I got to, grow things from seed, really learn how to care for each plant.
And you had that hydro garden thing, right? What's that called? Like with the lights?
Oh, the hydroponic?
Yeah, did you
I
like
have the
that?
small one. It's okay.
Yeah.
It grows really quickly. So unless, it was just overflowing with basil, for example. And I like a lot of basil, but I'm not constantly eating massive amounts of basil. So it's...
I'm actually having that problem with my basil plant. It's sort of taken over, and I think what I'm going to do is maybe make some pesto and freeze it, or freeze some of it. I don't know what to do with it. It's so much in it. I try to put a piece or two on dinner, but it's like...
my tomatoes. I have so many tomatoes. So today we're going on a trip tomorrow, so I chopped them up and I froze them because you can just make a tomato sauce like that.
That's what I usually do.
What I'd like to do ideally is kind of create a farm share type thing where, like you grow all the basil, I'll grow some dill, someone else grows some parsley.
Well, you can definitely have all my dill, because I have dill and I don't even use it.
I love dill.
Yeah,
I know.
Take your dill. So you should have
I'll
it.
take all your dill.
I came back, I was like, oh, okay.
No, I love dill, and anyone out there that has parsley that's watching it, I will take all your parsley. So Persians, every time I go to India Market, I'm like, I will take all of your parsley.
All of the parsley,
and they're like, oh, there's some here. I was like, no, go in the back. I want all of your parsley.
No, the gardens have been really, really satisfying, and I think maybe one of the themes that we'll get to as we kind of quickly go through our plans is how healing it can be to grow a garden, and how restorative. I met a gentleman the other day who had some serious health issues, and he really credits starting a garden with helping him cope with the health issues, but also to get better, because the physical effort to go out was forcing him to use his body, and he was growing his own food. He said cooking these amazing meals, and I was just so inspired by that story. I know you know this, but I am the granddaughter of farmers, and still for me going to their farm in Jamaica is really restorative. There's something about that growing your own food and eating your own food that I find really healing. And even if it's not something to eat, even if it's something just beautiful to look at, or, you know, it's cleaning the air, it's just, there's just something lovely about plants. I love plants. Sometimes I say plants are better than people. You know.
Restorative is the right word.
Yeah,
I think so. It's very restorative, you know, and there's a deep sense of success and be able to grow something, or, you know, they're kind of like people too, you know, like some of these, I mean, we'll get to it as we start. Yeah, like some of them will hate this corner, but thrive in this one. So, do you want to get started?
Oh, sure.
Do you want me to start? Maybe your orchid in the front?
Yeah, I can start with this orchid. This orchid was given to me by my sister-in-law's mother when I was having some health issues of my own. And I had never successfully kept an orchid. So this was a beautiful gift. And not only did she get me an orchid during this time, but 7 or 8 friends got me orchids. So now I have so many orchids at my house, all different sizes. And I've been able to keep them alive for the first time in my life. And I think another credit to the pandemic, being at home, I was able to kind of give them a little bit more or less attention as they needed it, and they're really thriving. So this orchid in particular, this is the biggest one that I had. I love looking at it. It sits on the windowsill above my sink, and I kept actually the stem that I had when I was sick, and now this new one that came up since I've been better, and it kind of is a reminder to me when I look at it of kind of where I've been and what's going on now and where I'm going. And also I learned after all of that that orchids have a symbolism of strength and womanhood, of like all of these things that really helped me to get through that difficult time in my life. So I really love this orchid. Maria, if you're watching this, thank you so much. It's so beautiful. It's an important part of my life.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. I'll put it over here.
This was also part of my physical healing, not quite to the same extent, but so I get migraines, as you already know, and they can be pretty severe, and I've tried absolutely everything, but one thing that doesn't resolve them but helps is the smell of eucalyptus. So anyone who's been to my house knows that I keep dry eucalyptus in a jar pretty much in every single room. It has a very subtle smell, which I know you're familiar with, but we can, you know, just enjoy it on
so
air.
Good, yeah.
I keep it in my bathrooms, in my living room, in my dining room, just all over the place. I keep eucalyptus. And then this year, for the first time ever, Bridgette, she called me up and she's like, I have something for you. I need to bring it right now. And I was so excited because usually it's chocolate or baked goods, but she shows up and she hands me a eucalyptus plant in soil, which I've never grown before. So I have been growing this, and I was so bummed. I was actually going to bring it with me, but it was wet, so I didn't want to bring it. But I put it in a big pot because I wanted it to grow huge. And it just sat there stagnant for about like a month and a half. Nothing happened. I was kind of bummed. I was like, okay, it's going to dry out, and then I'll just use it like this. But then the last week or two, I don't know if it's the heat, but suddenly it has some offshoots.
Really? Because I think they do like to be a little drier, so maybe that's probably what it is.
I mean, I think once the roots kind of settle, I'm going to bring it inside, find a nice corner that it likes. But yeah, that's...
Yeah, we both share that. I used to have eucalyptus hanging in my shower, actually, to give it like that little spa element to it. I haven't done that in a while, but maybe that's something I can do again, because it's really nice.
Like
when the heat of the shower goes, it really does help to give it a nice
aroma. No, it's a really nice neutralizing smell. You know, a lot of people... I hate to talk about the bathroom on air, but a lot of people have those like Febreze or crazy sprays in the bathroom, and those really aggravate my migraines. I hate them.
Yeah, me too.
But this just kind of neutralizes the air slowly, and it's a natural, subtle smell. You can't even smell it, and it's an amazing plant.
It really does.
Yeah.
Speaking of spas, I brought this little mother-in-law's tongue. It's a snake plant. We call it mother-in-law's tongue. I got it when it was just a little tiny little babe, and I keep upsizing the pot slowly, but I think this is going to be the last pot for this guy. But I keep this plant actually on the little plank in my bathroom, in the primary bedroom, and I just...
Is there a window in there?
Yeah, there's a window over the tub, and I just love looking at this. It reminds me of to take a moment sometimes and relax and care for yourself, and take a hot bath or a cold bath or whatever it is occasionally, because I think sometimes as parents, as women who work, as people who work, as human beings, we can forget sometimes that we have to take care of ourselves, and this plant, for whatever reason, is that reminder for me, like, hey, Don't forget.
The leaves look really great, too.
Yeah, this one's been very happy. It literally started off in this tiny little thing, like one of those little, like 1 inch thing. Yeah. And
it grew this big.
Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah,
I actually did that this weekend. My kids, I made fairy gardens with them, and they chose these tiny plants from the terrarium. But then when I looked at their fairy garden, which was, I was envisioning these cute fairy gardens, but one of them made a post-apocalyptic alien scene. So it was just, I respect their creativity, but I was like, I don't want this in my living room. Yeah, I took pictures, it's done. Anyway, the plants were doing so well, and they were beautiful and thriving in the corner. So I took all the plants out of their fairy garden and put them in little pots. So now they've gone from like tiny plants to like these nice, full, colorful plants.
It's amazing how many people don't know that plants grow as big as the container.
Yeah.
Within reason. I mean, there's plants that will never get bigger than a couple of feet tall, but a lot of plants, the bigger the container, the bigger the plant.
Yeah, the bigger the plant.
So as you know, I have an 8.5 foot fiddle leaf fig in my dining room that kind of takes up a whole corner. It's like my prized possession, and it's in this pot that's humongous, so that it can continue to just be this humongous thing and keep growing.
Actually, this morning I was thinking about it because I have that big what's it called?
Planter?
No, the huge tree in my corner.
Oh, the umbrella tree.
Oh, the umbrella tree. Yeah, it's getting huge, and part of me was like, what if I just dig a hole in my floor?
Yeah, so that it can just get as big as possible.
Just plant it in the ground. But
I read a storybook like that when I was a kid. That's funny. Yeah.
So this plant has been a work in progress. So I don't know if any of you recognize this, but it's a curry plant or a curry pata plant. So the story of this plant is that my mother-in-law's mother brought her some from India and gave it to her, and she planted it in the ground at her home in Savannah, Georgia, and she's grown just so much of it. So I've been trying to grow it here. So every time they visit, she brings me just like a few twigs of it with roots, and I've been trying so hard. So I tried it in compost, but these things hate compost. I tried it they don't like compost at all. I tried it outdoor, but then it was raining too much. So then this one, you'll see that it's like really weird looking.
It's beautiful.
So but I didn't like this stick because it was just such a funny looking thing. So I just kind of shoved it in this random yellow thing. So this one, Bridgette gifted me a lemon tree in this. So I just randomly put this thing in here, and I just put it in a corner, and I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
And then one day I walked over, and I realized that it has all this new growth.
Do you have yours inside or outside? Because the one that you gave me...
This one's inside.
Okay, maybe I need to bring mine inside. Mine's outside.
They don't like... So I actually I had another one outdoor that wasn't growing, but it was staying still and fresh. So I left it there. That wasn't growing either, but I brought it inside.
And now it's doing better.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing because when it's wet, it grows mushrooms on the bottom.
Yeah.
Only these plants.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. It might
be the soil. But
Maybe.
Mine, a rabbit ate all the greenery, so all I have left is the stems. But if you break the stem, it's green.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to come back next year.
No, I thought this was dead.
Yeah,
I left it just to die in the corner, and then I looked over. I mean, it's
so
such
healthy.
a weird looking plant, but I'm just letting it go.
I like that
I
it almost looks like a palm tree. I love it. It's just like a miniature.
It does, yeah.
Like if I was doing a fairy garden, I would have these in it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I'm hoping this gets nice and huge, and then I'll transplant it to a big. For
something
now,
bigger.
I don't want to touch it. I don't water it. I don't put anything in it.
Just
I did
let
put
it
those
live.
what's it called? Those
The
like
fertilizer
osmocotes.
pellets?
Yeah, those ones it likes, but it hates compost. The compost burns the
maybe I
roots.
need to get some of those for mine.
Yeah, so I just went to I went from the dollar store. This is that dollar store soil. Which has nothing in it.
Yeah.
It's just straight up soil, and I
It's
don't
loving
water
it.
it.
I
It's
love
just
that.
dry, and it's really happy in here.
I love it.
I may spray the leaves or something, but for now it looks
I mean,
really
it looks
healthy.
great. It doesn't look like it needs a thing.
Yeah, if it
seems
wilts,
like it's
I'll
living
do
its
that.
best life.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh gosh,
You're
this
up.
is tough now. I gotta pick.
Right here.
Okay. All right. So this is an ivy. This is actually the plant of my sorority. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I got this one, I believe, at my initiation, and I thought it had died, which is really embarrassing because that's a big no-no.
Yeah.
But I said to my mom, I said,
you get kicked out if you kill the
you
plant?
get kicked out, absolutely no.
Yeah.
But I said to my mom, I said, please, mommy, like you have to help me with my ivy because something's not right with it. And my mom is like the goddess of all plants, and she said, just give it to me and I'll help you out. And she literally transplanted it into this planter, which is one of the colors of the sorority as well. And ever since then, it's just been living its best life again. It totally came back. I have to cut it back because, as you know, ivy will just take over your whole
Have you thought about putting it in one of the hanger plants?
Maybe I will, but yeah, I just cut it
nice.
to, so it doesn't become too much like an octopus, but I do
that'll
love
look
it.
cool as a hanging
Yeah,
plant.
as a hanger.
Let it go down.
But it's nice. It's a nice reminder of my sorority, which reminds me of sisterhood and service and, things that are important to me. So I love this one.
Yeah, so fun fact for viewers, but your sorority has sponsored an anti-racist free little library.
No, that was actually my women's group.
That was your women's
group? Yeah,
that's
a different, it's a different women's group. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm in a lot of things.
You are?
Yeah,
I can't keep track
of things. Yeah, no.
Yeah, she's always in like a board meeting
I know,
or something.
I know. That's a different group, yeah.
Okay, back to my peppers
now.
Yes,
of course.
Okay, so this is, I have tried for years to grow vegetables in mason jars because I think it would look really cool. So this year I did something called the Salsa Trio. So I did 3 mason jars. And every year they failed, but this year they succeeded. So what I did was at the bottom I put stones.
Smart.
And then I put the soil at top, and then I put some fertilizer in there as well. So that gives it drainage. So if it rains, all the water goes to the bottom. And the nice thing is there's some roots too, so it eventually sucks up the water. So I had a tomato plant, a pepper plant, and a cilantro plant. Weirdly, I thought the cilantro would thrive, but that was not happy.
Yeah, my cilantro didn't make it this year either.
Yeah, this year, even the outdoor one. Yeah, I have no idea. The cilantro hated the mason jar.
Yeah.
The tomato was huge, and I gave it to you.
Yes.
Yeah, so
and I've had so many delicious tomatoes, and they're orange, and they're so sweet. At first I wasn't ready to pick them because I'm like, they're not red, they're not red. And then I noticed they were dropping off the vine, and when the top like spreads out like a hand, that's when it's ready. And I was like, oh, I guess they're ready. And those are like some of the sweetest tomatoes that I've had.
Maybe that's so why I noticed none of my tomatoes are turning red. Maybe they're just orange tomatoes.
See if the hand is spread.
No, they are. They keep popping.
Yeah, that means it's ready to go. Yeah,
oh,
they're orange. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have
like
I have a red tomato too, but I have an orange one.
Yeah. So anyway, the pepper plant was really happy in here. It grew to a normal size, and I have just chili peppers growing here. And
Next time we're going to eat the chili peppers on air, right?
You're going to eat the chili peppers on air. Anyway, the tomato did really well too, but I don't. Yeah. So next year, I'm just going to grow some peppers in here. It's a nice like centerpiece.
It's a good size too, because you don't want like a million peppers. You know?
Exactly. Because when you put it in a big planter, how many chili peppers am I going to eat? Like I just like cut it up. I cook with one every now and then.
Your daughter and I are the only people I know who will just eat them.
Just eat them. Yeah. There's so many here. Like I'll cut as soon as I use this. There'll be 3 more. There's 2 on here.
Yeah,
3.
I see some flowers coming here.
No, this is awesome. Great. I'm gonna see if it grows indoor too. Mm-hmm. I feel like this will grow indoor easily.
Through the winter. Yeah, I know we're gonna bring in our limes and our lemons.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have about a minute left, but I did want to introduce Olivia, which is my smallest fig tree, but the one that I got when it was the smallest. It was a little tiny baby, and I've been nursing it, and it's tripled in size, so I'm really happy with it. So just wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
So say hi, Olivia.
Hello.
Hi,
actually, quick fact, I have the same tree. All the leaves fell down. Same kind of story with the curry plant. It just wouldn't grow. Then I just kind of left it in a corner, and then I saw I left it alone. Just all these leaves are growing now. It's just like this weird, anyway.
So we're going to wrap it up, but we did want to at least mention that we have a community garden bed that's feeding the refrigerator at the senior center. That was a team effort. Basically, a bunch of people in A Better Shrewsbury have been planting and tending and watering this bed, and it's been just so nice to garden with friends.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a great way to kind of wrap up the show. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. I don't know if we're looking in the middle now, but yeah.